Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. How many times have you felt trapped in your own thoughts, like they were running your life without your permission? Negative thoughts whisper that you're not enough, that you'll fail, that your past defines your future. And without even realizing it, you start to believe them. That is how they take control, not with force, but with persistence. Jung understood that the real danger lies not in the world outside, but in the shadow within us, the unacknowledged fears, the hidden doubts, the pain we push down and refuse to face. Left in the dark, these shadows guide us like unseen hands, convincing us that this weight, this constant inner war, is simply our fate. But it isn't. The truth is, negative thoughts only control us when we surrender our awareness to them. The moment we drag them into the light, they lose their grip. Imagine living with that kind of freedom, not by silencing every dark thought, but by refusing to let them define who you are. That is the work Jung spoke of, and that is what we'll explore today. How to stop being a prisoner of your own mind, how to face the shadow without fear, and how to reclaim the authority to direct your own life. Because the fight you're in isn't against the world, it's against the voice inside your head. And when you learn to master that, you discover a power that no circumstance can ever take from you. So if this message resonates with you, and you want to keep exploring Jung's wisdom and practical ways to master your own mind, make sure you subscribe, because this is just the beginning of the journey. When we talk about negative thoughts, most people think of them as passing annoyances, little moments of doubt or self-criticism that come and go. But the truth is far heavier than that. Negative thoughts are not random intruders. They are patterns, repeated grooves in the mind that keep us circling around the same emotions of fear, anxiety, and self-condemnation. They tell us stories about ourselves and about the world, and the more often they're repeated, the more believable they become. Carl Jung understood this deeply, and he gave these patterns a name rooted in the darker side of human psychology, the shadow. The shadow is the part of us we don't want to see, the collection of fears, insecurities, and impulses we try to push away and bury. We tell ourselves that if we hide these thoughts long enough, they will lose their power. But the opposite is true. The more we suppress them, the stronger they grow, weaving themselves into the unconscious mind until they begin to act as unseen forces guiding our lives. That is why so many of us feel like prisoners to our own thinking, because what we refuse to face becomes what quietly controls us. Think about how this plays out in daily life. You tell yourself, "I'll never succeed," and the mind, faithful to your belief, begins to sabotage every effort by filling you with hesitation. You compare yourself to others and conclude, "I'm less than everyone else," and suddenly every interaction is colored with insecurity, as though the world is silently confirming your fear. Or you project into the future and whisper, "My future is dark," and then you stop looking for light, stop building, stop moving forward, because you've already decided that tomorrow has nothing to offer you. These are not just thoughts, they are instructions, commands given to the unconscious that shape how we show up in the world. And the frightening part is that most of us don't even question them. We think they are just who we are. But Jung teaches us that they are not the truth. They are the voice of the shadow, the hidden part of the psyche that we've ignored for too long. Left unexamined, these voices shape habits, and habits shape destiny. The man who never challenges the thought, "I am a failure," eventually stops trying, and in the end, he becomes the very thing he feared. The woman who constantly tells herself, "I'm not good enough," begins to shrink in every room she enters, until invisibility feels safer than presence. And the young person who believes there is no future for me stops planting seeds, stops dreaming, and eventually lives inside the cage of their own prediction. This is why negative thoughts are so dangerous, not because they shout, but because they whisper, because they repeat, because they blend into the background of our inner life until we mistake them for reality. Jung's insight was that these thoughts are not enemies to be destroyed, but signals pointing us toward the parts of ourselves we have not yet embraced. They come from the shadow, from that hidden reservoir of what is unacknowledged, unhealed, unaccepted within us. And until we find the courage to face them, they will continue to control us, quietly, invisibly, shaping the path of our lives while we wonder why fate seems so unfair. To understand negative thoughts is to understand that they are not proof of weakness, nor are they destiny. They are invitations, difficult, uncomfortable, sometimes painful invitations to turn inward, to confront the shadow, and to recognize that the prison we feel locked inside is, in truth, a prison of our own mind. And this is the first step, to see negative thoughts for what they are, not as absolute truths, but as shadows cast by the unconscious, shadows that lose their power the moment we shine a light on them. If negative thoughts gain their power from the shadows of the unconscious, then the way to break their control is not by running from them, but by learning to meet them with awareness, honesty, and courage. The first step is awareness, simply noticing the thought without instantly believing it. Most of us get pulled into our negative thoughts as if they were absolute truth. The fear says, "You're not good enough," and we accept it. The doubt says, "You'll fail," and we surrender before even trying. But when you pause, when you catch the thought as it arises, you create a space between you and it. In that space lies freedom. A powerful practice is to write your thoughts down in a journal, not to analyze them endlessly, but to name them for what they are. Instead of, "I am worthless," you write, "This is the voice of fear." Instead of, "Everyone is better than me," you write, "This is the voice of comparison." The simple act of naming separates you from the thought, reminding you that you are not the voice, you are the one who hears it. The second step is to stop running from the shadow. Jung was clear. The parts of ourselves we deny only grow stronger. Facing your negative thoughts does not mean agreeing with them. It means asking what they are pointing to. When the voice of fear appears, ask, "What is this fear really protecting me from?" When self-doubt whispers, what deeper wound is it trying to expose? By listening in this way, the shadow becomes less of an enemy and more of a guide, showing you the places within that need healing. From there, you can begin the third step, replacing destructive patterns with realistic, empowering alternatives. This isn't about shallow positivity or pretending everything is fine. It's about reframing. Instead of, "I'll never succeed," you tell yourself, "I may fail today, but every failure teaches me to rise stronger." Instead of, "I am less than others," you tell yourself, "My path is different, and my worth is not measured by comparison." These small shifts are not lies. They are truths we often forget to speak to ourselves, and over time, they reshape the pathways of the mind, training the brain to look for growth instead of collapse. Finally, breaking the grip of negative thoughts requires daily practices that strengthen your inner resilience. Deep breathing and meditation teach you to calm the storm and return to the present moment. Mindfulness grounds you, pulling your attention away from imagined futures and regrets of the past, back to what is real right now. Physical movement, exercise, walking, even simple stretching, releases the tension that negative thoughts build up in the body. And just as important, you must guard your environment. Limit the voices, people, and content that feed your negativity, and intentionally seek out spaces, conversations, and habits that nourish your growth. None of these practices erase negative thoughts forever. That is not the goal. The goal is to strip them of their control, to remind yourself each time they arise that you are not their prisoner. With awareness, with the courage to face the shadow, with the discipline to reframe, and the wisdom to care for your inner world daily, you begin to reclaim your mind. You begin to direct your life not from fear, but from clarity. And that is the true liberation Jung pointed toward. Not a life free of darkness, but a life where the darkness no longer dictates your fate. In the end, remember this: negative thoughts are not the truth of who you are. They are only passing guests in the mind. They arrive with weight, they speak with authority, but they do not define you. Carl Jung believed that the one who has the courage to face his shadow is the one who discovers his light, and that light has been within you all along. So the next time you feel those thoughts pressing down on you, whispering that you are not enough, pause and remind yourself, you are the one holding the reins, not the thoughts. They can knock on the door of your mind, but it is you who decides whether to let them in. This is your power, your responsibility, your chance to rise above the patterns that once controlled you. And if this video has sparked even the smallest shift inside you, take a moment to share it with someone who might need these words, because we never know whose life can be changed by a reminder that the fight is not against the world, but against the voice within. And don't forget your strength, your freedom. It all begins in the mind.